She bonds people out of jail. She goes, you know, does all that. What happened was she called me and she had a young lady in jail that she was bonding out. So I talked to her a couple times on the phone, but never got to really meet her until I went up there. And some of you know Ashley. She has come to a couple of the meetings. I took her to U-Turn, and she deals with what was funny on the phone when we were talking. I said, yeah, we have these programs. I send them to people with no insurance, and it's a faith-based program. And when I told her name, she dealt with them too. That's where she sends people at the same time. So, you know, with that, it turned into a friendship. And I mean, for what she does, is she kind of does this in a way, a sort of thing that we do here. But she's a born-again believer too. And I asked her to come in tonight to just tell a little bit of her story, her past, and how she became to where she is today. So I'm going to introduce Aubrey.
Okay. Depending on what county you're from, you may have heard of me or not. I am a bail bonds agent. I'm a fugitive recovery agent. I'm a Christian. And yes, I've been called the female dog, the bounty hunter. I grew up with an abstinent alcoholic mother. I didn't know she was my mother. She literally left me in the hospital when I was born, and someone had to come pick me up. My father raised me the best he could, but he was an alcoholic as well. The only thing is he had a lot of money, so that covers everything. For a lot of reasons, I always carried a lot of emotional pain with me, growing up and everything. Always had broken promises, repeatedly disappointed by the people closest to me. The first relationship you have is with your mother, and I was abandoned from day one. So I always carried that with me. I always wondered why I wasn't enough for someone to love me or keep a promise to me. For that reason, and my niece was 2 years old, and she was diagnosed with leukemia. It was terminal, and so along with the baggage that I carried, that and my niece made me hate God. I hated God. I knew He did not exist, because if He did exist, what kind of terrible thing was He to do this to a little baby and do this to me? Like many of you women specifically, I was introduced to drugs by a man that was going to love me. He was going to change my world, and he was going to rescue me and show me love that I never knew. And he introduced me to drugs. As soon as drugs came into the picture, you know, everybody knows how that ended really badly. And, you know, that was just a disaster. I started going to Calvary Chapel in Old Bridge years ago. The first time I went there, I knew it was the place for me. Even though I hated God, I went there and I was like, wow, this is, like, I could really, you know, this could be something I do. I really like it. Even though I hated religion. So I was still on pills when I started going to Calvary. I was also still selling pills when I started going to Calvary. In the first week that I started going there, I really started convicting myself. And I said, you know, this is it. I'm not going to sell pills anymore. And I thought that was, you know, I was strong in my faith. I'm not going to sell drugs anymore. That's what I'm going to do. But I was still using them. And I justified it because I was in pain and I need them. So, I mean, you know, selling them is wrong, but taking them, I need them. There's a pastor. Do they know Pastor Kevin?
No.
No, okay. There's a pastor in Calvary Chapel. He's, the only way to describe him is he's the most no-nonsense man you've ever met in your life. And I spoke to him. I told him a little bit about myself. And I told him, well, I'm not selling drugs, but I still got to do them because, you know, I have pain. And he said to me something that nobody had the guts to ever tell me. He said, what's your name? And I said, Aubrey. He said, let me tell you something, Aubrey. You're full of shit. You're an addict. We both know it. And, you know, sorry to hear that. And I, you know, imagine my face. My jaw was on the floor. What do you mean? I stopped doing what I'm doing because I came here and I have faith now. No, that's not true. And I remember going home even and telling my husband how mean Pastor Kevin was to me. He was so mean. I can't believe it. I was so adamant. And I went home that night and I prayed for Pastor Kevin. I prayed for him that he gets put in his place because that was mean. And I woke up the next morning and I felt stupid. And I said, I am an addict. And this man was right. And he met me for 10 minutes. I showed up at church and Kevin almost laughed. He smiled at me and he almost laughed and he said, are you mad at me still? And I just started crying. I said, Kevin, I think I'm an addict. And he was like, I know you're an addict. And he said, listen, drink caffeine and eat candy. It's going to help you with the withdrawals. And you're going to have a couple of hard weeks. Bite the bullet, you'll be all right. And that was it. And from that day, I started it. I went through it, cold turkey, I stopped, and everything. And he told me, pray, because you're going to need it. You're going to need to pray. And that started my walk with the bathroom floor, of laying on the bathroom floor and going through withdrawal. I didn't know what being sick was because I never went through it. I never had to stop. I prayed, and at one point I prayed and said, God, I'm doing the right thing. Why does this hurt? This is hurting, physically, really hurting me. Why? I'm doing the right thing, I thought. So, as always, he got me through it, just like everything else. And I got up off the bathroom floor eventually because I had kids, so I couldn't stay there. And I was fine. I did Suboxone therapy for like a week, and then I was like, I can't do that, and I stopped, and just stopped everything. So after I kept up on my therapy, I wanted to go back to work. I wanted to get a job. I hadn't worked since my son was born, and I said, this is really going to help me. I need to focus on something. To this day, and I think me and Tom have talked about it before, I have no idea why I picked bail bonds. I have no idea. Why would that come into anyone's mind? I don't know, but it did. I decided on bail bonds, and I literally Googled bail bonds in Middlesex County, and I called every single one until someone would give me a chance. I had no experience. I had no background in it. I had no education in it. I just wanted to do it. So I found a company that would do that for me and help me. I found one, and I moved really fast through the company. It started as just answering phones a couple hours a week for, pocket money, to like every waking minute was about bail bonds. I was doing bails every day. I would take my son to school. I would come home and stay with the baby for a couple hours. Then I would go do bails, come home and make dinner, pick up my oldest from school, see my husband for like 5 minutes, and then go and do bounty hunting at night, like 11 o'clock at night. So I really never slept. I was on a roll. I really found my niche in bail bonds, and I got people into rehab and stuff, and I was like, this is it. This is perfect. This is what I want to do. I want to help people. As life usually goes, though, I was pretty much on top. I was in great physical and mental shape. My faith was really strong. I was knocking it out of the park at work. So we all know what's coming, right? A challenge. I found out I was pregnant again. After everything I went through with my back and having my son, the doctors already told us, you're crazy. You can't have another baby. Not only can you not have another baby, this is grounds for medical termination, because your spine will break. Either your spine's going to break, or you'll have to have a baby be born addicted to pain medication, because you're not going to be able to do it. My husband and I, we struggled with it. Of course, we don't believe in abortion, but our doctor knew that. She was very gentle about her approach. But she did present the facts that we had to go over very carefully. We set up a meeting to speak to a pastor, but before we got there, I was pretty much decided that we were going to have to end this because it wasn't fair to the child. I don't think that I could have watched a child go through withdrawal, a baby, because I did it. I would never have let go of it, and I knew it would throw me back into my addiction, and I didn't think I could do it. Not to mention the fact that they were handing my addiction to me on a silver platter, like making it fine to do it. So my husband pretty much agreed that whatever I thought, he said, whatever you think, I'm not going to hold it against you, but we have grounds both ways. It's kind of a gray area. It's up to you. It was one morning I told my husband, I wonder if we do the right thing, if he'll give us a girl, because we have 2 boys. And he said, well, that's up to you. And I said, no, that's our decision. We're going to do it. We're going to keep the baby, and we're going to do it. So we never went to that meeting with the pastor. We decided to keep the baby. and we'll do what it took. I did need some pain medication while I was pregnant, but I prayed and I tried really hard to use self-control to get through this. The baby was not affected at all. The baby was born perfectly fine. She was actually weighed more than my son. She was almost 9 pounds. And Tom could tell you, a week before, maybe even 2 days before I was due, I was on the phone with Tom getting more people into rehab as fast as I could into U-turn, because I knew I'd be gone for a couple weeks. So even while I was going through what I was going through, I was trying to like crowd U-turn so that everybody would be getting the help they needed while I was away. Not everybody, but as many as I could touch. When we went to find out if it was a boy or girl, me and my husband were inconsolable. The minute that they said it's a girl, I knew that God heard me. Not only did he hear me, he felt my pain. Every day that I woke up and I was like, I don't want to do this, and I don't want to be pregnant, and I don't want to go on like this. He heard that. And he blessed me for having the faith in him and knowing not only are you going to get me through it, you're going to give me a reward at the end that is amazing. And we got our daughter because he knew we'd never have a chance to do this again. This was it. So through the pregnancy, I kept this scripture in mind with all the trials. It's in James. It's James 1:2-4. Consider it all joy, my brothers, when you encounter various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces endurance. Let endurance have its perfect right, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. There's a lot of ladies here. Being pregnant and throwing up and stuff like that, consider it all joy. Those are not the things that you're thinking. But I kept that with me, and I always thought that. I always put it into my head. While I was really struggling to get through this, I was still working. Like I said, there was one specific person who could not make it tonight. But she taught me a lesson. And everybody that I've helped really has taught me a lesson in their own way. But she specifically really touched me. Her and her parents got into a bad situation. I bailed the parents out, and they were reluctant to bail her out. But they decided to do it only after she had a court date with DIFUS, because she was going to lose her children to the state. After a lot of convincing, her grandparents and her parents asked if I could not only find her a rehab, but go to her court date with DIFUS, explain the situation to the judge and to DIFUS, that she's going to go to rehab, but she has to go out of state, because I can't find anywhere for her to go. It was the end of the year. Their funding was gone. I couldn't find anywhere for her to go. Nobody would take her except Tom. Tom saved me a couple times that way. So I did go. I went in and explained everything to the judge and DIFUS. The family was allowed to keep the children instead of the state. This was one of those times, though, before I got Tom to tell me that he was taking her. This was one of those times that literally brought me to my knees. I was begging God to find this girl a place. Our kids were really close in age. I was like 7 months pregnant. I still don't know why I was so adamant about this girl. I didn't know her. I spoke to her maybe twice. But I saw something about the situation. It could really be me. I could have got wrapped up that way. I got her into rehab at 11 o'clock in the morning. The court date was at 1 that morning. I got the call at 11. So I got her in. I don't get anything for getting people into rehab. I do bail bonds. There's no extra bonus or something like that. Nothing happens. I just know that it's the right thing to do. Recently, I got to see her. I always told her, don't ever thank me for getting you to rehab. Your thank you to me will be when I see your kids and my kids in church together playing. And that's exactly what happened. Tom was there a couple months ago, my daughter's dedication. We had a little party after and stuff. And when I saw this girl walk up to me, I didn't even know who she was. She was a totally different looking person. And her children were with her. And that was amazing. Those who found faith in treatment often return to the old neighborhood, and they're met with opposition from old friends and family. This is where the importance of strong faith comes into play. You know why you need God. You have to separate the relationships that threaten that. Living in this world is like an alcoholic living in a liquor store. Not only is there temptation everywhere, but there's justification everywhere. You're tempted to do these things, but you have a reason why. That's why it's okay. Because you have a reason why you need to do it. Because something hurts. Something hurts, and I need to do this because it hurts. That doesn't make it okay. It just makes you smart. It doesn't make it okay. As women, I thought there was going to be only women here. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. But this applies to you guys, too. As women, everything's emotional, right? Even the guys can agree with that. One topic relates to 20 other topics. When you get in a fight with your husband, the one thing he said applied to 10 things that happened last week. And women have an amazing, to see that's natural. All the women are like, yep, and all the guys are like, I don't know why that happened. Women have an amazing trait that God gave us, that we can multitask not only our actions, but our thoughts too. Sometimes there's our weak spot, and we get overwhelmed because our thoughts turn into anxiety. In Luke 12:25, Jesus asks us, which of you have added an hour to your life by worrying? Show of hands, how many of you have worried so much that when you woke up, your problem was solved? Because it doesn't work that way. Oh, you? We gotta talk after. You gotta tell me how to do it. It doesn't work that way. You can worry till you're blue in the face. It's not gonna change. Because he's got a plan. It doesn't matter what you do, because he's got a plan. Prayers of mine often went like this. Lord, I really need you to handle this. But if you don't want to handle it, maybe I should handle it. You know what? I'll just handle it. I kind of need help, but I'm going to give it to you. No, you know what? I'm going to take it back because I can do it faster. Maybe I should do it. Do you want me to do it? I'll just do it. We tend to want to do it ourselves because, again, as humans, we need faith. We need faith to get it done. It's scary to trust in something you can't see and someone you don't know. Especially for women, because we have to put our trust in anyone. It's harder because you're more emotional. That's scary. And I admit that that's scary. Trust is scary at all, even with another person. 1 Peter 5:7 tells us to cast all our anxieties on him because he cares for us. Pastor Kevin once told me, nobody can worry and pray at the same time. If you're praying, you can't worry while you're praying. If you're worrying, just pray. It goes both ways. I found even times with my children that I'm like, oh my God, that's a sign. You need to pray. You're saying, oh my God, you're calling on him and you're asking for help. When you are reaching that point, it's time to pray. In order to really see his work in our life, we have to ask for forgiveness, but we also have to take this baggage that we have and truly, truly leave it with him. And I don't mean be like the prayer that I said, do you want me to handle it? I'll handle it. I'll take it back. Do you want it? I'll take it. We can't do that. Literally picture yourself putting all these things, baggage that you're carrying around with you, in a bag, walk up to the cross, put it down, and walk away. Literally. Because if you keep taking it back, he's going to be like, okay, then you don't need me to help you. Leave it there. My oldest son is 7. I adopted him as a baby. Ironically, his mother was an alcoholic and a junkie. He's 7 now, and she doesn't see him. My 2-year-old was diagnosed with verbal apraxia. That means he does not speak at all. It's a road I never imagined that I would be on. I have a special needs child. He's a special child. He brought a lot of challenges my way. A 2-year-old's hard, and one that doesn't talk is harder because he can't tell you what he wants. That's something I struggle with a lot. I have to pray a lot about it. When I'm weak, I think, like, why my child? But then I remember that as parents, you were given your child. You were given your child for a reason, because you were meant to be their parent. So that's why I was given him, because God knows I can handle it. The baby that caused all the problems. We named her Floralise. And in French, it means God's flower. Tom can tell you, I'm not just being biased because I'm her mother. She is amazing. She's a very happy baby. And just how miserable I was while I was pregnant, I can't believe how happy she is. We've all heard things that say, go with your gut, right? Go with your gut. Don't even worry about it. Don't even think about it. Just go with your gut. What's your instinct tell you? Just do that. Think of those statements and replace it with the word God. Go with God. What does God tell you to do? Do that. Because that's what those statements really mean. He's telling you to do something. Prayer isn't always long either. I want you guys to know. I always thought like, well, I have to make time. You know, well, you do have to make time to pray. I'm not saying don't. But it doesn't always go that way. When I was pregnant, and sometimes actually while I've been doing bounty hunting, my prayers get really short. Sometimes they are help, or I'm scared, or I need you right now. All those things count. And yeah, I heard recently a pastor say each tear that you cry is a prayer, and he hears them. Each of those things count. You have to make time every day to be in the Word. That's the only conversation. You start a conversation with God by being in the Word. Don't just pray to ask, pray to converse with Him. In order to trust someone, you have to know them first. When you get to know them by conversing, that's how your faith is built in them, and that's how you start to trust them. It's the same with God. Talk to Him, get to know Him, and you'll start to trust Him. It's amazing to me how sufficient His grace is. It's not just rationed out. You only get a certain amount of forgiveness for your lifetime. Thank God, because I would have been done a long time ago with mine. But it's sufficient. Whenever you need it, it's there. When you're truly sorry, it's there. It's enough, it's sufficient, and it's on time. If you take anything away from this, I really want it to be to go for the ride with God. Let Him do what He has to do. But don't try to fight Him for the wheel. Go for the ride with Him, let Him drive. Just go along with it. He's going to tell you where to go. He's going to tell you what you need to do. Just listen for Him. He knows better. And you're an amazing creation of His. Don't overly criticize yourself, because when you do that, you're criticizing His creation. And who are you to tell Him that? He laid on the bathroom floor with me, and He did the withdrawal thing with me. He cried with me, and He celebrated with me when I had my children. And now He's blessing me with so much, and He's letting me be able to help other people, and that's amazing. I could never help people unless I went through what I went through, and you guys all went through something, and it's going to be able to help someone else. So pain hurts. It just really does, but there's a reason why you went through it, and He's going to tell you what it is if you're